Hi everyone, Mark Lichtenfeld, Chief Income Strategist with the Oxford Club. Welcome to State of the Market. It's the most wonderful time of the year, but it's soon going to be the least wonderful time of the year, tax season. Now, before you tear into those presents, think about making these year-end tax moves so that you have some more gelt to spend next year. And plus, I'm going to also give you some tax moves you can make throughout the year. First things first, let's talk about end of the year tax moves. If you're planning to donate to charity, do it before the end of the year. Here's why. In 2020, as part of the CARES Act, you can now deduct $300 of charitable contributions from your taxes, even if you don't itemize. So even if you just do the standardized deduction, you can now deduct $300 worth of charitable contributions. That's never been done before. You definitely want to take advantage of that this year if you can. If you do itemize, you can actually deduct all of your charitable contributions from your taxable income, even if it's all of your taxable income. So if you made $1 million and you gave away $1 million, you don't owe anything in taxes, and plus you made a lot of people really happy. So make sure you do that by the end of the year if you do itemize as well. IRA, 401k, and HSA contributions. If you're eligible to contribute to an IRA, 401k, or health savings account, also known as an HSA, make those contributions by the end of the year. Ask your HR department if you can make a lump sum contribution to your 401k or HSA. Sometimes they allow you to do that. If it's a IRA that you're contributing to, you don't need anybody's permission. So regardless of what kind of retirement or tax deferred account you have, make those contributions by the end of the year. Just do it.
So just do it! Make your dreams come true!
By doing so, you'll save more, which is always a good thing. Plus, you'll lower your taxable income, which means you'll save money on taxes. So it's a win-win. Capital gains and losses. Now, typically this time of the year is when you harvest tax losses on your investments to offset your gains. And that's a smart strategy if you no longer want to hold on to your investments. But keep in mind, taxes are expected to rise under a Biden administration. Now, depending on what happens in the Senate Georgia race, that may be easier said than done. But taxes will likely rise at some point in the next few years. The question really is by how much. So it may be worth waiting to harvest those losses at a later time if your taxes are going to be higher. Now, of course, if you have a losing investment and you think it's going down further, it does not make sense to hold on to it just for tax purposes. But if you're unsure, it may be worth holding on to it and using those losses to offset gains when taxes on those gains could be higher. Now, on the flip side, typically when you have capital gains, you try to hold on to them until the following year so that you don't pay taxes on them in the current year. If taxes are going higher and you're not sure how much higher your investment is likely to go, you may want to consider taking those gains this year while capital gains taxes are still low, especially if you're in one of the highest tax brackets where capital gains taxes are expected to increase. So it's a very different strategy than what is typically advised for year end when it comes to capital gains and losses. RMDs. Prior to 2020, if you were 70 and a half, you had to withdraw a percentage of your retirement savings each year. It's called the required minimum distribution, RMD. And if it's coming out of a 401k or a non-Roth IRA, it is taxable. However, this year, the maximum age has been increased to 72. Plus, this year, no matter what your age, you do not have to take an RMD. So if you don't need the money, consider leaving it in there for another year. It'll grow tax deferred and you won't owe any taxes on the money this year. So that may be the one silver lining for this entire year, really. Now, throughout the year, you can make investments as tax efficient as possible because remember, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. That's really important. Bond interest is taxed at your ordinary income tax rate. So if you own individual bonds or bond funds, those should be held in your tax deferred accounts because your ordinary income tax rate is most likely higher than your dividend taxes or capital gains tax rates. Stocks whose dividends are return of capital, like MLPs, should be held in your tax-deferred accounts because those dividends are already tax-deferred, and you don't want to take up valuable real estate in your tax-deferred accounts that could be used for less tax-efficient investments. If you're a successful trader and you have lots of short-term capital gains, do that in your tax-deferred account. Now, remember, if you need the money that's in your tax-deferred account to pay the bills, I do not recommend trading actively with your retirement accounts. But if your retirement is secured another way and you're going to have a lot of gains in the short term, put them in your tax-deferred account because those short-term gains are taxed at your ordinary income tax rates. And of course, contribute as much as you can to your retirement accounts. And as I mentioned, not only will they grow tax-deferred, but other than a Roth IRA, they will lower your taxable income, reducing the amount you owe on taxes. So if you're eligible, make those contributions. And if you don't, you're really just hurting yourself, both in the short and the long run. All right, that will do it for us this week. For more on wealth and income building tips, be sure to check out my free e-letter, Wealthy Retirement. Just click on the link below. Merry Christmas, everyone, and we will see you in 2021.